So imagine for a moment that you're getting ready to go on a cross-country road trip. You pack your car, you have your podcasts and playlists queued up, your face mask in hand, you're ready to begin your journey. But you still need to figure out which route you're going to take to your destination. Will you go through the deserts and the sunny southern route, eating your way through the country's best barbecue? Or will you traverse the majestic mountains along the northern route, taking in the sights and sounds of iconic American cities? These are equally both great options. But imagine that your GPS only offers you one route and you must take it no matter what. Even your paper maps, if you can remember those, have little information on other routes. Well, that's kind of what higher education has become today. For almost half a century, one option, a four-year degree, has been presented as the only viable path for many students who are about to begin their higher education journey. And make no mistake, post-secondary education is critical to securing a job that pays enough to support yourself or your family. That will likely be even more true in the future. A 2016 study estimated that 99% of jobs created in the last economic recovery went to workers with some education beyond high school. Even before the pandemic, it was estimated that by 2020, 65% of all jobs in the economy would require some post-secondary education and training beyond high school. But the fact is, a four-year degree is not for everyone and not for every job. In many schools, classes that once existed in electronics and woodworking, metal shop, auto mechanics have nearly become extinct. Over the years, students who learn by doing, students who want to work with their hands, students who are passionate about a particular skilled trade suddenly found themselves with fewer options. Students who want to be electricians or plumbers or work behind the camera in Hollywood or be trained as a medical assistant found the post-secondary CTE, career technical education route, was stigmatized and disrespected as the path for the underachieving student. But let me tell you, graduates in these programs get jobs that earn good wages while taking on far less debt. And these are students who want to solve problems, employ their creative side, care for others. And importantly, the reduced time frame it takes to complete a program of study increases the odds that they will persist and graduate. And graduating, completing a degree is critical. We rightly spend a lot of time worrying and kvetching about access to higher education. And it's true, many students, particularly students of color, those from lower income, those who are first in their family to attend college, face far too many systemic barriers to enrolling and persisting in school. But for those who do enroll, who manage to find the financial resources to pay for it, and who are able to balance school with work and family responsibilities, the disconnect between what they learn in the classroom and the real world job market is yet another challenge. Nationally, of those who enroll in BA and associate degree programs, only 59% graduate within 6 years. A recent survey has shown that while most graduates believe college was worth the investment, their chosen major gives them pause. In fact, 61% say they would change majors, often because they didn't believe their field of study prepared them for a career that was a good fit. Data from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York shows what can happen when they don't. Numbers from December 2019, before the pandemic ushered in a massive economic upheaval, show that 41% of recent college graduates are underemployed, working in jobs that didn't require a college degree. We have shoehorned too many young people into pursuing educational options that do not fit their interests or career aspirations. The result? Each year, tens of thousands of students drop out, deep in debt, with no degree, poor job prospects, and a diminished sense of self-esteem that comes from their educational experience. Many jobs in construction, healthcare, culinary arts, hospitality require some education beyond high school, but not a full-blown four-year degree. I can say with confidence that before the COVID pandemic, literally millions of jobs that pay family-sustaining wages were going unfilled. Why? There's too often a mismatch between higher education and workforce needs. Unfortunately, not enough higher education institutions offer credentials in career technical education, and even fewer young people are encouraged to pursue them. So what's the solution, and how can philanthropy help? Well, we need to fix the GPS on higher education so that it shows all available routes, not just one. Philanthropy, with its flexible funding to invest in promising ideas, innovating approaches, is well suited to help higher education navigate this challenge. I've had the privilege of serving in and around higher education in California for decades, including more than 5 years as California's Chief Financial Officer for the entire University of California system, and currently is a member of the California State University System Board of Trustees. I know the funding realities and bureaucratic constraints that can make big sweeping changes, like what is needed now, very difficult to achieve. So this is where philanthropy comes in. At ECMC Foundation, we're focused on improving post-secondary outcomes for students from underserved communities. And in the last 5+ years, we've awarded more than $181 million in grants to nonprofit organizations. We prioritize investments in evidence-based solutions that can spark broader systemic change. Sometimes that requires experimentation, seeding pilot projects that take an innovative approach and measure how well it can move the needle, especially as we continue to grapple with the persistent impacts of the pandemic and systemic racism. Other times, it means incentivizing institutions to embrace needed change, like making educational programs and opportunities that are free, accessible, and equitable for all. Most importantly, philanthropy allows us space to learn from both our successes and our mistakes. At a time when a deadly pandemic has accelerated the pace of change in how we work, how we learn, how we live, philanthropy is an essential partner to our most trusted institutions as they chart a new course at a much faster clip than they are used to operating. While all institutions of learning are figuring out the new normal online with varying degrees of success, it's especially critical now to invest in modernizing career technical education, which will be essential to preparing a post-COVID workforce. But as with many hands-on learning programs, are being forced to adapt quickly to an increasingly virtual world. And history tells us while online learning only can widen access, it also tends to lower the odds of completion. These gaps in student success are greater when looking at CTE programs, are far more troublesome when looking at success rates for African American and Latinx students compared with their white and Asian peers. Online education in some format at the post-secondary level will be with us for a while, and there are fundamental changes that need to be implemented to improve student outcomes and close equity gaps. A modern version of CTE can make extensive use of virtual reality and augmented reality training tools to better prepare students for the workforce. Adapting career technical education and higher education more broadly to meet the needs of the future will require new thinking and, yes, much more funding to pursue innovative ideas. And all of that needs to happen now at a time when public funding is constrained and post-secondary institutions are facing severe budget shortfalls. Asking colleges to take a chance on change can be difficult. Philanthropy cannot sit on the sidelines at this moment. We need to harness the resources we have at our disposal to be a trusted partner in the change that is coming for all of us. The investments we make now will shape the future of learning in the workforce. In closing, some may say that the post-secondary education is about more than career preparation, and some will argue that particularly for those just out of high school, underemployment isn't a concern in the long run. Well, my response is we can and we must do better for students who are beginning their educational journey with a broken GPS system. We must do better for a student who, after completing or nearly completing a degree or certificate, suddenly realizes they aren't on the pathway that suits them best academically or professionally. We must do better for the student who faces the prospect of earning less than they'll need to repay their tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in student loans. Ultimately, we must do better for the student who mistakenly believes there's only one pathway to post-secondary success and a satisfying career. Thank you.